Welcome back. I'm just here with Fury Machine Gaming at the moment. He's just helping me fix my rake here. Oh, hello. Got a phone call here. Who's this from? Ah, it's from BK. Now, BK is AK's wife. Given that this is the late 80s, they're only newlyweds. Well, actually, I should really put a disclaimer in here that the reality is that even in this late as 1990, AK would have only been 16 years old, so he certainly wouldn't have been a newlywed in the late 80s, but I'm using a bit of poetic license here. So, yeah, I've got BK, AK's wife, on the phone here. She's saying that she needs me to come and have a word with AK, that she tried Fury Machine Gaming next door, but doesn't seem to be home. That'll be because he's here. So, Fury, would you mind running me over to AK's place? We'll see what's going on there. That'd be great, thanks. Door closed. Okay, let's go. That fan there, you probably don't really need the fan in Ireland, but of course this is an American truck that Fury Machine Gaming got brought over from America. So the fan was probably quite a good idea there for any vehicle that's too old to have air conditioning or anything. Where's the gate? There it is. Very hard to see when the grass is so long. Okay. So we'll go over and see what the problem is at AK and BK's place. Almost there now. It's funny because I saw AK only the other day. I was selling off some of my calves and he was there giving me a hand, and in fact I told him that if he helped me get the calves to the market I'd give him half the money, which I did, and here we go, now we're at AK's place. So just kill the engine there. So what appears to be the problem? Aha! That's the problem. Here we go. AK's gone and spent the money he got from his half of selling the calves on buying himself a hog. And BK thinks it's time he settled down now that they're newlyweds and perhaps stopped riding hogs and things. So she wants us to have a word with him. Not quite sure what we're meant to suggest though. Maybe, suggest that now there's a newlywed he should sell the Harley and, I don't know, become something really boring like an accountant or something perhaps. I must admit that Harley's in bright orange, which is my favourite colour, so perhaps I could offer to buy it off him or something. I'd have to get more into debt because I sure as heck ain't got enough money there at the moment, but I think that's probably something that I might be able to see myself towards doing. Perhaps buying this hog off him if he wants, so he can settle down, become an accountant or something, and that AK and BK can start a family together. Anyway, we'll sort that out a bit later. I might just go back to the raking. So I'll leave Fury there with his neighbour, with AK at the moment, and I'll go back to the raking. So I wanted to talk to you about 3 very small places in New Zealand today. Now, first of all, I'm just going to point out that just as in Ireland, lots of places start with belly, belly or bellin, and my understanding from everything I've read is that bellin in Irish means place of, which is why there's so many places that start with belly or bellin. Well, in the same way, in New Zealand, there's a lot of places that start with Y, spelled W-A-I, Y, and the reason for that is Y is Maori for water, and of course most townships and things got built near a natural water source, because if you're trying to build a town or a city where there's no natural water source, you're going to end up running into the same kind of issues as they have in Las Vegas nowadays, where they're running out of water. So most places get built near a water source, and therefore often in New Zealand these towns and places got named after the various water sources they were built next to. So there's an awful lot of place names beginning with Y. Wainui-o-Mata, Waifatu, Waiuru. So today I'm going to start off by talking about a place called Waikikamukau. Now, you've probably all heard the sayings before of, oh, I'm going to Timbuktu, or I'm going to the boondocks. Now, although there are a couple of places in the world called Timbuktu, normally if someone says I'm going to Timbuktu, or I'm going to the boondocks, they're not actually referring to a real place. They just mean heading out to the middle of nowhere type thing. And that's exactly what Waikikamukau is. So there is no place in New Zealand called Waikikamukau, although I understand that one of the beliefs, which is quite possibly true, is that soldiers during World War II, some US soldiers were stationed at Waipukura, and they found it very, very hard to pronounce the name Waipukura, so they used to nickname it Waikikamukau instead. And according to Wikipedia, that's how Waikikamukau, the name, first came about. Now, of course, Wikipedia isn't fact-checked, so I can't swear that is the way it came about. But I can certainly confirm that instead of saying I'm off to where was I saying? Yeah, instead of saying I'm off to Timbuktu, a Kiwi way of saying that would be I'm off to Waikikamukau. Now, another very, very interesting thing about Waikikamukau is it actually starred in a it was the setting of a Nickelodeon telemovie called Rocket Power, Race Across New Zealand. So if you've ever seen that Nickelodeon telemovie, that is based in Waikikamukau. But as I said, Waikikamukau isn't actually a real place. But it is interesting, you know, they picked up on this Kiwi slang and they used it in that movie that was filmed here in New Zealand. Now, since Waikikamukau is more than likely named after Waipukura, it brings us to Waipukura and Waipawa, which is next to Waipukura. The two of them are both in the Hawke's Bay, and I did spend about 1 year of my life living on a farm. I was still in primary school, so I don't remember a lot of it, but yeah, apparently I did live on a farm in Waipawa for 1 year, and it was a sheep farm, and the name of the farm was K40. Now, the reason the farm was called K40 is it was 40 kilometres from Hastings, which is the nearest place of any substance to there. So the farm's called K40. Now, it was only about 7 kilometres from Waipawa itself, the farm, but one thing I need to point out with these distances things, because I mean, if you're American, for example, you're probably converting these kilometres to miles, either in your head or using your smartphone to convert it for you and thinking, oh, that's not very far at all. But what you have to remember is that, first of all, a lot of roads in New Zealand are very narrow roads and they're very twisty things, so you can't drive fast on them, especially the country roads. In fact, a lot of the country roads, I'm not sure that this is so true now, but certainly going back even just 1 decade, a lot of the country roads were still gravel. New Zealand, you know, it's probably one of the few first world countries still to have a lot of gravel roads. As I said, maybe not quite so many now, but certainly there have been until very recently a lot of gravel roads still in New Zealand. So although some of these places I talk about in terms of distance might not be very far, certainly for someone in America they won't sound very far, you're not going to be travelling the same kind of speeds you are in the States, so it does take a lot longer to travel between places. And New Zealand's not a big country. You could travel the whole length of the country in about 16 hours by car. So by American standards, you know, that's not really very far at all. But of course, State Highway 1, which is the main highway in New Zealand, which does go the length of New Zealand, bar the Cook Strait in the middle, which you have to cross by ferry, of course, is, for the most part of it, only 2 lanes, 1 lane in each direction. So, it slows down to town speed limits every time it comes to every little township. So it's not like America where you jump on this big 4-lane, 6-lane highway that misses all of the townships and you just keep on driving straight through until you need to pull off petrol or food or something. New Zealand's not like that at all. when you're travelling on the main road, travelling places, you're going through every little township along the way and having to slow down to town speeds at every one of them. And as I said, a lot of them are very narrow roads. Until a decade ago, a lot of the roads were, a lot of the off-the-beaten track roads were still in gravel. And yeah, so travel is not as easy as it sounds just based on the distances I've talked about there. Yes, I don't remember a lot from the time I spent living on a farm in Waipawa. As I said, it was a sheep farm. I do remember there was a gravel pit in it. One of the fields had a gravel pit in it that the council used to collect gravel to make steel for roads from. And I remember they had a threshing machine which basically worked like a combine harvester, but it didn't. You could put it on the back of a tractor, but when you were actually using it, it was just parked there. And it had two sacks hanging off the back of it that would fill up with your grain. And so everything would have to be hauled to the machine rather than like a combine harvester where the machine is driving around the paddock. So here's a little bit of something to talk about Waipawa, Waipukurau and Waikikamukau. So I'll put the spelling of those places down here, and in the meantime I will finish up with these fields. Then I might go back and talk to AK, maybe try and talk him into selling the Harley to me, and get on with having a family and things. So I will talk to you all again later on. Thank you very much. Bye.